Hello guys, welcome to a training video. Today I'll be teaching you how to create this type of Netflix image effect in Adobe Photoshop. I'll show you the original screenshot from my Netflix account. This is the screenshot I just took from my Netflix account. Whenever you pause the movie or TV show, it will add a play icon on it and it will add a dark gradient on the left side of the image and it will blend through the image and give it a nice, and that gives it a nice fading effect. So this is the effect we'll be creating today in Photoshop. So I have choose this image for this tutorial purpose. Here is the image without the elements on top of it. First thing we can do is grab the top bar. I have taken a screenshot of it. This is the one. So I'll just select all and I'll edit copy, and I'll just navigate to that image and I'll just paste it here, and by click on Command V on the keyboard, and then I'll just go up to the edit menu on top and click on free transform. While holding down shift, I'll resize the bar to the full width of the image and I'll just place it on top like so, and with the arrow keys on the keyboard you can just move it around and center it, and just hit enter on the keyboard once it's done. And then another thing you can do is you can see in the layers panel it has a name that top bar to layer 1. You can just double click on this and just rename it to top bar, so it would be easy for us to remember. And if you don't have your layers panel open up, you can come up to the window menu on top, click on window and click on layers. And then what you can do is, while your top bar layer is selected, there is an opacity option here, which is the transparency. Just click on this and drag the slider a bit towards to the left. I'll just set it to around 80%, so it will give a nice transparent effect on the top bar. Next thing we'll do is we'll create the gradient, this black subtle gradient on the left side. Then I'll just show you how to do that. Navigate to the image and then click on this background layer, which is this image layer. You can just double click on this and unlock this layer. Right now it has a lock icon, which means we can't edit this layer. Just double click on this and hit OK, and it will rename that background layer to layer 0. You can just double click again on this and I'll just rename it to image of person. Okay, and then what you can do is come up to the toolbar on the left side where it says this paint bucket tool. Just click and hold this arrow and it will pop up this, click on gradient, and on top there is this gradient color picker. But before that, what you can do is you can add a new layer. Come up to the layers panel here on the right. At the bottom right, there's the button that says create new layer. Click on this and double click on this layer 1 and just rename this layer to gradient, and then come up to the color picker on the top left here after you have selected your gradient tool from the toolbar. So click on this gradient color, click on this area which says click to edit the gradient, and what you can do is at this one you have to fade it from black to transparent. So what we'll do is click on this first, double click, and it will pop up this color picker, and just select and move it at the bottom and hit OK. And again for this on the right side, again click on this bottom color picker and slide it all the way at the bottom and hit OK. And make sure this one is opacity on the top slider is set to 0, the opacity, and just hit OK. So while your gradient layer is selected in the layers panel, come up to the image on the middle, just click and drag two words from the left to right while holding down shift on the keyboard, and it will have that kind of effect. You can do it, you can also, what you can do is click on this move tool first and click on this layer which says image of the person, which is this image. Then with your arrow keys on the keyboard you can just move it to the right a bit like so. So now you can see you have that kind of subtle effect. And if you want to increase that effect a bit more to the right, then click on this gradient layer in the layers panel and come up to the edit menu on top, click on edit and click on free transform, and you can see it has the effect is still here. This is the gradient box. Then just click and drag this middle pointer from this side a bit to the right. You can see it has a good subtle gradient on the left side. Next thing we'll do is create the play button. You can do that by first creating a new layer again in the layers panel. Come up to the layers panel and click on this button again, create new layer, and then come up to the symbols panel in the toolbar on the left side. It is here, the square shape. Just click on this and click on this custom shape tool, and on top it will give you this shapes options. Click on this and it will give you all the shapes which we can use and fill color to it. For this I will use this one, this circle tool first. Click on this and while holding down shift I'll click and create the play button here like so, and then it created a path. Come up to the paths panel. I had selected this one, the middle one, so it is set to path tool. Then once you have opened the paths panel, if you don't have it, again you can come up to the window menu and click on window and click on paths tool and right click on this and click on fill path. It is going to fill the foreground color which is set to white here. Just hit OK. You can see now it has created that oval shape, and again you can right click on this work path and click on delete path, and then come up to the layers panel and rename this layer to oval, or just write it to rename this layer to circle. And then we will need to create that play symbol. Again you can create a new layer and come up to the shapes panel on top, and I'll grab this triangle and I'll just click and draw it here on the canvas. And again I'll go to the paths panel and I'll right click and fill path, and it will fill with white, and I'll just delete the work path. I'll come to the layers panel again and I'll just rename this to triangle, and I'll come up to the edit menu on top and click on free transform, and I'll just hold down shift and I'll just rotate it like so and hit enter on the keyboard, and I'll grab my move tool on the toolbar on the top left, and then I'll just click and move it on the image like so, and I can just resize it by coming up to the edit menu on top and clicking on free transform, and while holding down shift on the keyboard I'll just click and resize it and hit enter on the keyboard, and I'll just center align this. You can also give it a bit transparency. Just select these two layers, the triangle and the circle, and I'll click on right click and you can just merge these two. So those two layers will be now considered as one. Just double click this triangle and rename it to play button and hit enter on the keyboard. And opacity you can just decrease it here. I'll just set it to 80 so it will look subtle, and I'll just place the play button here. And next thing you can do is we'll just write the title of the show and some text, and we'll add these two buttons. I'll again go up to the image menu here and I'll grab my text tool and I'll just write here on the canvas. Once you have typed it, just select the font from the font menu here on top, and you can just set it to bold, and I'll just increase the font from 48 to 60. So this is the title of the show. Next thing you can do is, instead of creating that same fonts again, just while holding down Alt on the keyboard, click and drag and it will make a duplicate of that text settings. Then grab the T tool on the toolbar and then just write the text guest, and just select this text and make this to a lighter shade from the swatches panel and resize it from 60 to 30, and I'll just place it here. And again I'll grab the T tool and select this text, and I will unbold it. And same way you can do for the rest of the text. I'll just copy this text from here, so it will save us time. I'll just copy this para. Then I'll create a new text box from the toolbar, and by clicking on this T tool, and I'll just click and drag the text box here, and I'll just paste the text we just copied by clicking on Command V on the keyboard. You can see, and then I'll just drag the box till here, and I'll just click on the move tool, and I'll just move this a bit down. Next thing you can do is you can create these two buttons. I'll show you again. Go up to the menu here. First I'll go up to the image, and I'll create a new layer. I'll just write this layer to rename as rectangle. You can grab this one, the rectangular marquee tool here, the second tool in the toolbar, and click and drag on the canvas like so. Click and drag till here and release it, and then come up to the paths panel. Then once you have that done, click on edit and stroke. I'll give this I'll first select the stroke. First what you can do is select the foreground color to white, click on this square, and just drag the slider on the top till top right. Just click on this square and drag the slider to the top left, and then come up the edit menu on top, click on edit, click on stroke, and hit OK, and it will give that box. And then what you can do is you can duplicate this box by holding down Alt on the keyboard and clicking and dragging. Only difference is the color of the box. We can change the color by clicking on this first, the foreground color, and pick this Netflix red. It's too dark, so I'll just move the slider to a bit to the top and hit OK. And then while we have our rectangular copy selected, click while holding down Command on the keyboard, click and select this rectangle, so it will select the border of it. Go up to the edit menu on top, click on edit, and then click on stroke and hit OK, and it will give the red box on top of it. Next thing we can do is we can add the text, same way we did for the top part. Again what you can do is right click on this layer, copy with current paragraph text, click or you can just take this text, the guest one, right click on this guest text layer and hold down Alt and click and drag this here, and just grab your type tool, the T tool in the toolbar, and click and select this text, and you can write your own. And again for this, again you can just hold down Alt on the keyboard, click and drag, and you can just place it to center by using the arrow keys on the keyboard. And I'll again grab the T tool and click and drag this text and just write here add to playlist, and I will grab my move tool on the top left, and I will, while with my arrow keys, I'll just move it to the left, and I'll again grab the T tool and I'll click on this. Again I'll grab my T tool and I'll click on this text, and I'll click on this red foreground color. I'll set it to red and hit OK. So now you can see this is one simple and easy way to create that Netflix interface effect on an image. I hope you guys have learned something from this training video. Please do shoot me an email if you have any questions to ask. I'll be happy to answer them. Thanks guys, thanks for watching. I'll be posting more videos soon.